Today, we are going to officially predict the top 10 of the NFL draft. So, the NFL draft is this week. Get excited. This Thursday is the NFL draft. I will be live streaming Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. You can find the live stream. Will be popping off when the draft starts, 7 o'clock, and going all the way through the first round. Now, today, I'm going to predict where every team will go in the top 10. And I'm going to use Vegas. I'm going to use some deducing, ladies and gentlemen. So Adam Chernoff from Right Angle Sports posted this little thread about the odds moves at Circa. Circa, one of the greatest places on earth. Been there multiple times. Love it there. They're all good people. Jeff Benson, all the boys. VSiN, located at Circa. Unbelievable. The Mecca for sports betting. But if you're ever in Vegas, go downtown, go to Circa. But Circa is notorious for taking sharp action. They take very, very sharp bettors. So you can assume movement is relatively sharp, especially on something like the draft. So we're going to use this to deduce. We're also going to look at FanDuel's odds to kind of further our deduction. All right, so let's go ahead and get through it. Chernoff's thread was posted on Thursday. All right. By the way, if you want to bet on the draft, most books take the props and all that stuff off 24 hours before the draft. So if you want to bet on the draft, you have to do it by Tuesday or Wednesday. Thursday, it'll be off the board, and you won't be able to bet on it. So something to think about. Like, you can't bet on the draft an hour before. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so now the O's are over, the U's are under. It can be kind of confusing, but like, over 8.5 means 9.5, 10, 11, 12. It doesn't mean over the other way. Under 8.5 would be 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? I know it can be a little bit confusing there. It's kind of counterintuitive, but that's just how it works. All right, so Shedeur Sanders, 8.5 was over 380. Now it's pushed up to 400, okay? Which means he ain't going 3, he ain't going 6, he ain't going below 8, all right? So you can start him off, Shedeur, at 9, okay? Jackson Dart, over 21.5 from 130 to 150. So this shows you Dart is probably going to slide, and that Dart is not going to be a top 10 pick, and he's going to be pushed further down the board, which makes sense. If Shedeur is going to slide, Dart will probably slide. Tyler Warren, 10.5 over. It goes from 130 to 105. All right, so he's plus 130 to go over, and now he's minus 105 to go over. And you can see the rest. Jalen Walker, 8.5 over, plus 325 to minus 205. Okay. Jihad Campbell, 18.5 to 235. Malachi Starks, 23.5, 120 to 150. And then going down, okay, Ashton Genty, 6.5 under, was even money. Now it's 200. All right, so that means, again, 6.5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 goes from even money to 200. People are betting on the under. All right, you can see the rest. Matthew Golden, Ted McMillan. McMillan is interesting. So is Golden. Colson Loveland, Jade Barron, Emin Worry. Starks. Okay, Starks and Emin Worry are interesting. So you can kind of do this to look at the same position. You have Starks, 23.5. He's going over. Emin Worry, 23.5. He's going under. So now you can deduce that Emin Worry will be the first safety off the board. Static, a.k.a. stayed the same. Mimbu, 6.5 over, minus 410. Graham, 5.5 under, minus 155. Okay, then some of the takeaways that Chernoff's he's just spelling it out for you. Sanders is going to slide. Genty's going to go top 6. Hampton's going 20. Warren going 10. Wide receivers going mid round 1. We saw that with Golden and McMillan are both under 18.5. Let's see, what else has he got here? He's got, let's see, both tight ends going mid round 1. Campbell, first linebacker, going later around 1. Emin Worry before Starks. Okay, so there you go. All right, so what we can deduce from this is that, and if we go to the FanDuel, first overall pick, minus, I mean, this is an insane number. Cam Ward is going first overall. Okay, we know that. So we can go ahead and just knock it out. Cam Ward first overall. Okay. Now, if we look at second overall, Travis Hunter is now shot up to minus 850. Okay. And Abdul Carter is minus 600 at 3. So now we can go ahead and fill those in. We can go ahead and fill in Travis Hunter to the Browns. We can go ahead and fill in Abdul Carter to the Giants. All right. 4 is Patriots. Right now, Will Campbell minus 240. We know Carter's not going to be there. So this is really between Campbell and Graham, more than likely. I guess you could say Ashton Jeanty as well, like theoretically, but we're going to go with Will Campbell here. Makes sense. They need him. He's there. Now, Graham, now 5, Jacksonville can do anything, right? Like Jacksonville, you can say, well, they may go here, may go here, may go here. Well, if you look at this and you look at Graham, where was he? Right here, 5.5 under minus 155. So money is coming in on Mason Graham to be under 5.5, which lines up with 5, right? So Mason Graham is going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, same thing. Ashton Jeanty, we know by this that money is on him to go under 6.5, which means he has to go 6. Okay. So now you have Ashton Jeanty going to the Broncos. Now we're at 7. Mimbu is 6.5 over 410, which means he's not going before 6. Okay. But if you go to FanDuel and you look at, where is, let's see, position of New York Jets first drafted player, offensive lineman is the highest one. Okay. And then if we have top 10 pick, Armand Mimbu is minus 650. So if you do that, it's like, all right, well, who would draft him? Right? Like, let's look at some other numbers here. Let's look at the Saints. New Orleans Saints first drafted player. Quarterback right now, but offensive lineman is 10-1. Okay, so you can kind of take the Saints out for drafting Mimbu. Panthers, offensive lineman, 22-1. You can take them out. Who else is on the board? The Bears, I guess. You could say the Bears, but the Bears offensive lineman 5-1. Okay, so if Mimbu is going to be a top 10 pick, he's minus 650, and we're already here on the board, and the Carolina and the Saints and the Bears are all 10-1, 20-1, whatever, and the Jets are minus 145, we can assume, unless he goes at 4, which if we look at a top 5 pick, Will Campbell's minus 290, Mimbu is plus 340. So this is telling you that Will Campbell is going to be the first offensive lineman off the board, and he's going to be a top 5 pick, which lines up with the Patriots. Okay, so this lines up with Mimbu going to the Jets. Okay, so he's going 7th. Now we get to the Panthers at 8. All right, so I had to do some research here. I had to do a little bit of research on the Jalen Walker 8.5 situation. So Chernoff, the way he has it typed is that over was plus 325, and now it's gone to minus 205. When I look at the Circa opener, his under is minus 500. All right, so Jalen Walker's under of 8.5 is minus 500, which is a lock. All right, like, I mean, that's up there with like Travis Hunter to go 2nd overall. And as we've seen, the only team really that would take him in that spot is the Panthers. And then if you look at DraftKings, go to the number 8 pick, Jalen Walker is the favorite. Jalen Walker and Mykel Williams. Okay. But the way Chernoff is phrasing this is that Campbell would be the first linebacker, but his is 18.5, and that the money is on Walker to go from 325 to 205 is an enormous swing. So I think there's got to be some kind of issue here. I'm going to go with the opener, and I'm going to go with DraftKings and all that, where it just lines up with, if you look at this, under 8.5, minus 500, and plus 150 to be the number 8 overall pick, knowing what we know about what the Panthers need, knowing what we have for the rest of the draft board, I think it makes sense to have Jalen Walker as 8. Okay, so in that situation, Walker would go 8. We're going to go ahead and do that. Where is he? Right there. All right, Walker goes 8 to the Panthers. Okay, now we are at the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are interesting because according to Chernoff, Dart is big time falling. Okay, Jackson Dart is, where was he at? Goes from over 21.5 to, so from 130 to 150. All right, Circa has, do they have Dart on here? Yeah, Dart, again, 21.5 over minus 130. All right, getting steamed. If you look at the DraftKings, Jackson Dart is the second favorite to go to the Saints. Okay, Shedeur Sanders first, Jackson Dart second. Word on the street from Daniel Jeremiah is that Jackson Dart's teammate, Walter Nolan, is going to go before Jackson Dart. I don't think Jackson Dart, and Nick Underhill said he would be surprised if the Saints took Dart at 9. So I think you can take Dart off the board. I don't think the Saints are going Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur slides, personally. Which, lines up with where Chernoff's saying. Okay? I think Shedeur slides. So if Shedeur slides and Dart isn't there, who do the Saints take? I think they take Tyler Warren in this situation. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a safe pick. I think it's a good pick. I think they'd go Warren. That also lines up with where Chernoff has McMillan and Golden. McMillan is a guy who's been mocked to the Saints, but if his total is 18.5, yes, they have him under, shaded to the under, but going from 18.5 to 9 is a huge jump. To me, 18.5 under says like Dallas or a team like that. So I don't think the Saints are necessarily in play for Ted McMillan. I mean, Ted's at 15-1 on this board. Okay. So I think it has to be Tyler Warren, personally. And I will bet this. I mean, Tyler Warren to be a top 10 pick is what? Minus 140? Okay. But that makes sense. I think the Bears would take him if he was there. But where do they have? Okay. Position of, let's see. Position of Saints right here. So tight end is 7-1. I think perfectly worth a bet. I think that's worth a bet, honestly. I think 7-1 Tyler Warren. I think the Saints go with Tyler Warren at number 9. And I think the quarterback stuff has become too much of a smoke. I'm going Tyler Warren to the New Orleans Saints at number 9. Okay? Which means the Bears, if we look at the Bears numbers, so number 10, Genty, the Bears would take. He's not going to be there. We know that. Warren, the Bears would take. He's not going to be there. Their next up, I think, would be Kelvin Banks. And if you look at, is Banks on here? Banks is not on here. Let's go to FanDuel. Bills, position of the Bills' first drafted player, offensive lineman, 8-1. Okay, which is interesting. Oh, that was Bills, excuse me. Position of the Bears' first drafted player, offensive lineman, is 5-1. Okay, so pretty sporty there as well. But that's because we know running backs off the board, tight ends off the board. Okay, so I think you go here and you look at Kelvin Banks for the Bears. Is Banks on? No, Banks isn't there. So I think you can look at this, and out of all the people left, I think the Bears go Kelvin Banks here. And I think this is your top 10 of the NFL draft. The only part that is like, maybe we'll see is 9 and 10. But I think because those are the big dogs. I mean, those are the big, we're kind of getting nuts there with a 7-1 and an 8-1. But I think you can pretty much guarantee 1 through 8 at this point. I think you can almost guarantee Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, Graham, Genty, Mimbu, Walker. And then I don't think the Saints take Shedeur. I think he slides. And I sure as hell don't think they're taking Dart. So if you look at McMillan's numbers, which now they haven't gone to the Cowboys, but if you look at McMillan and Golden's numbers, you look at some of the other guys there, I think you might be looking at Mykel Williams. I think you might be looking at Tyler Warren. Jod Campbell's coming off the injury, and then you have the cornerbacks, but like Jahdae Barron's number is 18.5. You know, like their numbers are big. I mean, let's see, do they have anybody else? Will Johnson's 12.5, so that's but it's over, right? Will Johnson 12.5 over minus 215, so the money's pushing him up. So they're expecting Will Johnson to go past 12.5. Yeah, so I mean, Jahdae Barron, 18.5 over minus 215. So they're expecting him to go past 18. And neither of those lines up to be 9, right? Jod Campbell, 18.5 over 165. Doesn't line up to be 9. So if you look at all that, now Mykel Williams is a big question mark because he is surging. He is under 15.5, but I don't know if he can get to 9. So I feel good with the Saints taking Tyler Warren there, and I feel good about Kelvin Banks to the Bears. There you go. This is it. This is using Vegas, using the odds, using the lines, the movement to predict the top 10. Obviously, I'm filming this on a Friday. This could change. I don't think it will, but I feel lights out. And I'll show you one more thing. So you can go to a top 5. If you can predict the top 5 in order, the exact order, the favorite on the board at DraftKings, if it'll pull up, the favorite on the board is Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, and Mason Graham. And that's plus 165. Heavy, by far the favorite. The next on the board is plus 425. So the way we have it is what Vegas thinks will happen by a lot. Here you go. I mean, this is it. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be monitoring this moving forward, using these numbers, using Vegas, using all that to kind of deduce a little bit is a smart way to do it. So let me know what you think. Where did we get it right? Where did we get it wrong? Do you think surprised you? Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.